Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Bernie here along with Pete.
Yo, what up?
Today, guys, we got a lot of trades, turmoil, and just other rumors and stuff that we got to talk about. So let's just get right into it here on The Charge.
Hey.
James. LeBron James all the way in.
Here comes Simmons the other way. 3-on-2. Simmons eludes the defender and lays it in with that. Certainly the length altered that shot out of the quick steps.
All right, guys, we're going to start it off with, of course, a team that we've been talking about for, we did 3 videos in a row for them, and that's the Cavaliers. Only because they're the most interesting team right now, I would say, in terms of storyline.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't know, they lost pretty bad to the Thunder this past weekend. It was really bad. It's like 148 to 124, which is a really high scoreline. We haven't been really high on the Thunder ourselves. So to see the Cavs kind of give up that many points to the Thunder, and also seeing LeBron kind of being a little bit lethargic along with his other teammates, it's kind of concerning.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, too. And his response, did you see his response
Yeah.
to the Tyronn Lue question? He's just like, I hope not, but I don't know. Which is kind of like, I mean, he's ducking the question, obviously, for the most part. He gave kind of some thought on it. But it's reminding me very heavily of the David Blatt era, which is like, of course, he was a little bit more aggressive behind the scenes of him trying to get rid of David Blatt with that situation.
Yeah.
But he's not necessarily trying to protect his coach's job, which kind of goes to show that either he just doesn't believe in Tyronn Lue anymore, or he just wants to see somebody better come in, which honestly, I think both you and I have been very critical of Tyronn Lue from the start.
I was going to say, these ESPNs and USAs, they've been talking about, like, oh, should Tyronn Lue leave? We've been saying that since way early. Or at least I have been.
And I think, like, a big thing, like a big indicator of Tyronn Lue's inadequacies as a coach came this week when he announced that he's not even going to try and change the starting lineup.
Yeah, that's just...
It's craziness. Like, you got to do something. Your team is so bad right now. Just do something. And honestly, I could see this team getting significantly better if they got a coach who could actually kind of manage the team somewhat and actually be like a game planner. Like, one name comes to mind really quick. We've talked about him a lot. Mr. Fizdale would be a great coach for this team.
I think so.
I think he'd be an incredible coach for the Cavaliers. And I think, his methodology as a coach fits what the Cavs need a lot. And you had a lot of vocal support from the Cavaliers organization with Dwayne Wade and LeBron James saying how much they liked Fizdale. And I think he was an assistant coach there at one point, right?
Yeah, he was an assistant coach there.
I think he's a perfect fit. And I think if they're going to make a big move, I think, like, besides the trades, which we're going to talk about in a second, I think most likely it's going to be firing Tyronn Lue, which I don't think is a bad thing. I don't want to root for people to get fired. That's not my... I don't like doing that, and I think it's sad that people get excited when coaches get fired because it really is sad, But I think that's a big that'd be a good move for the organization to get rid of Tyronn Lue and bring in a guy like David Fizdale.
Yeah, I mean, just to harp back on some of the points that Peter was talking about, like you said, no one roots for any guys to get fired, but when you're not doing the job right and you haven't been really adequate into changing anything, then, your job has to come into question, and it's easier to replace the coach than it is players. So that's where people make the hasty move of firing the coach. Sometimes it's for the worse, sometimes for the better. But I think this Cavs team really needs a dramatic shakeup, like you said, either in a trade or a coaching change, because this team right now just seems like they're stuck in neutral.
Yeah.
And they just don't look like they're going to be going anywhere. I mean, they're not going to improve on defense. Jay Crowder has not been looking like the defender that he was in Boston.
Terrible. You were so completely right about Jay Crowder.
Yeah.
I can't believe that I argued with you. I apologize.
Yeah. I mean, not saying that he's not bad, but it's just like he's not as good as people thought he was. I think that the defense really started with Marcus Smart. And, looking at the trade now, Isaiah Thomas, he will be scoring his points. I don't doubt that now. But the thing is that he's just not going to help you defensively.
No.
And it just sucks to see that Tyronn Lue is not going to be making any moves. And in a second, we'll talk about trades that we could see for the Cavaliers. But in the meantime, right now, as the team as it is, I think like a lot of players said, and I even think like LeBron said, they're going to get bounced out really easily in the first round if they don't step it up.
Yeah. I mean, I agree to some extent, but I think like it's worse than it was last year. But imagine just if you remember, I should say, how bad it was coming into the playoffs last season, and then they swept everybody, And I think that you could, if the playoffs started tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like that happen. But I do think that this team is in a worse place, and the biggest problem with this team, and we talked about Jay Crowder and Isaiah Thomas. Myself included, a lot of people gave them more credit than I think they're worth to some extent, and not enough credit to Brad Stevens and the Celtics schemes, because they really benefited greatly, both of them, especially Jay Crowder, because Isaiah Thomas can get buckets anywhere, but defensively that team was a lot better than they should have been based on the players they had.
Yeah.
Because of Brad Stevens. And like I said, myself included, I didn't take that into consideration as much as I should have. They need to do something. They just defensively, there's so many holes. Many holes. Like they need, just with all the players they have on that team, like they have like 3 dudes on their starting lineup who just cannot defend.
No.
For their life. And LeBron is not nearly the defender he was 3 or 4 years ago. It's rough. It's rough. Like Kevin Love, if you watch Kevin Love and Isaiah Thomas on the floor together, they might as well stand on the sideline when the Cavs don't have the ball. It would probably go better defensively for them.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah, I mean, just the last thing I'll say on this kind of defensive woes and just Tyronn Lue in general. I think Fizdale would be a perfect coach to replace Tyronn Lue, based on the fact that he has worked with LeBron before and that he's more of a defensive specialist.
Yeah.
It just makes some more sense to have him there. I would at least add him onto the staff, see if he can sort of help you guys if you're not going to get rid of Tyronn Lue, because I know Tyronn Lue was LeBron's guy, and LeBron and people that he knew behind the scenes, like you said, created the situation to where David Blatt got fired, and Tyronn Lue was at one point the highest assisted paid coach, and now he's a coach now. So we'll have to see where it goes on from here. But I thought it was pretty funny also that David Blatt kind of was a little bit petty when they asked him when he was playing Euro basketball. They're like, "Yeah, I just hope we don't give as many points up as the Cavs."
Oh, I didn't see that. That's funny. David Blatt is an incredible coach.
I think he's a great coach.
The fact that he's not in the NBA is criminal. It's absolutely criminal because he's such a good coach. He suffered from the drama.
Suffered from GM LeBron making the moves.
He got ousted.